Hello guys, this is Kincaid from 73. In one of my previous videos, I made a tier list for the Earth Immortals, and in this one, we're gonna talk about the Water Immortals, so let's just get right into it. So we all know how weak Water March right now is, so I'm gonna place the tier list or place the Immortals on the tier list based on how powerful are they on the Water March itself. And some of these Immortals will be useful in some other marches, so I'm gonna take this into consideration as well. And let's get started right away. Here is the tier list, and we're gonna start with Merlin, of course, the face of the Water March. Probably one of the strongest mages in the game, only if met with the right conditions. For example, being used with either Dido or Artemisia, the new Water Immortal. And I think Merlin was at some point the strongest mage in the game, but not anymore right now. And so I'm gonna place him in the decent. He's decent to use in the Water March. He's not that bad. Well, he's actually very good to use in a Water March. He's way better than Margaret and Yion as a backline, and he's the only decent damager that you can use in a Water March. Yion doesn't deal that much damage. Either Margaret doesn't deal that much damage. So I'm gonna place him in the very good because he is good in the Water March. He's very good to use in the Water March, and that's about it. But in order to make him very good to use in the Water March, we will have to keep either Dido or Artemisia with him for the chill effect. So Merlin will go into the very good tier, and right behind him is Yion. Without a doubt used to be the best immortal to use against bosses or single targets in general. That was before immortals such as Kublai. That was way back then, before all the immortals that we have right now. So he was a very good immortal to use versus single targets, but not anymore. And there's so many replacements, such as either Sign Duke, the Wind Immortal Matilda, or maybe the frontline immortals, an immortal such as the Holy Immortal Kublai Khan or the Shadow Immortal Tutankhamun. There's so many better options than Yion. So I'm gonna place him in the meh just because he's a free-to-play immortal, easy to obtain, easy to build either from the market or the summons. So he's a very good choice for the free-to-play players or the low spenders who cannot afford either Shadow or Holy Immortals. So I'm gonna place him here. He's still a decent choice to use against single target bosses. The next immortal that we have is Attila, the Dead Immortal. And if you're an old player in the game and you played early on when the game started, Attila was definitely the strongest immortal back then. He used to be so powerful that they had to nerf him. They had to actually murder the immortal. His skill used to be a 50% chance of applying silence. So you see this chance has a 35% chance of reducing its physical damage, physical defense by 15%, and silencing them so that they cannot gain energy or use skills for 4 seconds. So his the silence chance was 50% and not 35%. However, they changed the skill because the immortal was so OP. He used to counter Holy, used to counter Shadow, I used to counter all the other backlines immortals because his skill targets 2 backlines immortals at the same time. And right now he doesn't apply that much silence. I mean, looking at the reports that we have here, control only 4 seconds here, and here only 4 seconds as well. This is a Fire March, again 4 seconds, so it's not as good as he used to be, and it is kind of tricky to place him in the tier list right now. So I'm gonna place him in the decent. He's still a good immortal to use in the Water March. I believe right now Ramesses could be a better option because Ramesses reduces the damage using his exclusive artifact, could increase the damage reduction to 9 seconds instead of 6, and the damage reduction is up to 30% if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look at the Immortal himself. It's the only Immortal that I haven't unlocked from the Water March. Right, so inflicts physical damage. Damage is a bit higher than Attila, but it's only 2 targets, 330% on enemy targets directly ahead, and disarms them so that their damage decreases by 25%. So it's 25% for 6 seconds. If you have his exclusive artifact, like this one here, that means that the damage disarm applied by Ramesses is 10% more effective. Did they change it, or it has always been more 10%? Alright, so the damage reduction is 35%, and it lasts for 6 seconds and not 9. So alright, so that's gonna put Ramesses in the very good tier, because using him in front of the damages, that means that he's gonna be very efficient to reduce their damages. I mean, 35% damage decrease is a lot if it was used in the right position. I mean, in front of an Immortal such as Hani in a mixed march, or maybe a mage such as Himiko is gonna ruin their life. So I'm gonna put him in the very good tier for now. So we have Ragnar, and Ragnar, in my opinion, is the only useful Immortal in the Water March that could be used in other marches. So I'm gonna put Ragnar in the OP tier just because his skill is so important for mages. He's the only Immortal that can increase the mage's damage that much in the game so far. I mean, his skill is a bit similar to Bjorn. Bjorn increases the damage in the affected area by 20%. However, Ragnar increases the damage by 30%. Also, his energy regain is decent, so he will be able to keep casting that skill. Causes physical damage to enemies in an area, and also increases the magical damage that they receive by 30%. So I believe if you have the right setup to use Ragnar in a march combined with an Immortal such as Himiko with her exclusive artifacts and the right skills, I believe that Ragnar could be very useful, very efficient, very effective in this march. So I'm gonna place him in the OP tier for now. And Harald used to be a decent Immortal to use in the Water March back then when Water was so OP, because using 2 damagers in the front line used to be a nightmare for Shadow marches. So Water was very good against Shadow, was very good against Fire as well. So right now, Harald is not that efficient. However, ever since he got his exclusive artifact, he kinda has been a little bit better, since he decreases the damage for the decreases the defense for the magical defense and the physical defense, both if you have his exclusive artifact. However, it's not that good as well. I believe Ramesses and Ragnar could be a better duo instead of Harald and Attila. And I believe using either Ramesses or Ragnar could be way better than Harald as well. So I'm gonna place him in the meh tier right now. He's not that good to be used in Water March, except if you're a free-to-play player and you cannot afford either Ramesses or Ragnar. So I'm gonna place him here. Dido, I believe Dido is a good Immortal to use in the Water March. The chill effect is so important for Merlin, and the physical defense that she applies to the team as well. It is the only source of sustain after the Dragon's Heal in the Water March, and I believe after Ramesses as well. But it is a really important source of sustains because she provides physical defense for the entire march. And the good thing about Dido, that the skill keeps getting stronger the higher the level of the Immortal. So for example, if you have Dido at level 40, that means that your skill will not be as efficient as you have the Immortal at level 55, because the skill applies the physical defense based off 2000% of the target's level, which is Dido's level. So the higher the Immortal's level, the more physical defense that you get. And I believe at level 55, the physical defense that you get is around 1100, I think. Last time I made the math. And it lasts for 6 seconds, and it also reduces their attack speed by 20%. So it's kind of a decent Immortal to use in the Water March. So I'm gonna place her in the very good along with Merlin. And I believe Artemisia should be the same. However, Artemisia is a bit better when it comes to applying chill to the enemies. So the way Dido applies chill is that she grants armor to all the allies. Once the allies receives damage, that means that there is a chance to apply chill to the target that is attacking the allies. Reading the skill grants Frost Armor to all allies for 9 seconds. Frost Armor increases physical defense 2000% of the target's level and has a 35% of inflicting chill on the attacker. So the chance of applying chill is 35% chance for Dido. As for Artemisia, or Artemisia, not sure if I'm pronouncing this correct. Where's the immortal? There she is. Creates an Arctic Storm in the enemy area, reducing their physical defense by 30%. I'm not sure why they choose to make her reduce the physical defense. I mean, if she was reducing the magical defense, this could have been way better for water marches, but I believe they made it physical defense because to be used along an immortal such as Margaret. But I still believe that Merlin is a better damager, and applying a chill effect reduces their attack speed by 10%. The storm lasts for 12 seconds, so there is no chance of applying chill. The chill applies at a 100%. I'm not sure if the exclusive artifact helps with the physical or the magical defense decrease. Let's see. Arctic Storm additionally grants a 50% chance to reduce enemy critical damage. This must be good versus fire marches or mages in general, but it doesn't help with reducing their magical defense. So I believe that Artemisia is also a very good immortal to use in the water march. If only she was reducing the magical defense instead of the physical defense, it could have been way better for the water march. As for Margaret, I don't think Margaret is a good option to use. I mean, she is a good damager, but not as good as Merlin. And in order to use Margaret, she counts a lot on the chill effects as well. Looking at the ultimate skill for Margaret herself, the damage increases if the target is chilled. This is the additional damage that applies if the target was chilled at 300%. This is a lot of damage, to be honest. However, her energy regain is so low. Her energy regain was even lower than this. However, she received a tiny buff, but even though with the buff, it doesn't help her at all. The energy regain is so slow. The damage is not as much as Merlin. Even with the chill effect, I know she reduces the enemy's physical damage if they were silenced. So I think this is some kind of a combo to be used with Attila. However, in order to use her, you will not be able to use Merlin, and this is kind of a huge disadvantage for the water march. So I'm gonna place her in the do not use. Terrible immortal to use in the water march, to be honest. If you're gonna use a water march, it's better to run Merlin with Dido, Merlin with Artemisia. Is gonna be a way better option. So this is all the immortals in the water march. This is the tier list. I'm gonna make more videos for the other tier lists, for the other elements, fire, wind, lightning as well, but this will be all for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and have a wonderful day.